Hello guys, in this video we're going to be discussing why exactly did Kyrsten Sinema leave the Democratic primary, and it's pretty much two major reasons. So the first one being that in the Senate she's constantly been a thorn in the side of Democrats, and she's angered a lot of the Democratic electorate in the state of Arizona. We could take a look at hypothetical polling for a Democratic primary scenario with Ruben Gallego versus Kyrsten Sinema, and you could see in the latest polling, Gallego pretty much beats Sinema in every single Democratic primary poll. So Sinema must realize this and realize that she isn't going to win a primary. So in her calculations, she has decided to swap to become an independent, mainly to avoid a primary challenger in the form of Ruben Gallego, because to be honest, he would beat her in a primary. So now we're into the scenario where we are probably going to have a three-candidate race in the 2024 U.S. Senate election in Arizona. Kyrsten Sinema running as an independent, Ruben Gallego running as a Democrat, and for the Republican primary, let's take a look at the candidates. I really think it's going to be Andy Biggs, honestly. I do not think it's going to be Mark Lamb, even though Kari Lake's kind of backing Mark Lamb. I think it's probably going to be Andy Biggs if he decides to run here. I think he'll probably beat the primary quite easily against Mark Lamb, honestly. There's outside chance of Doug Ducey winning, but be honest, it's going to be hard for him to win in a primary in Arizona, especially because he stood up to Trump. But as we saw before, Kemp was able to defeat Perdue in the Republican primary against Trump before, so that could also happen. But so far, I think the nominee will be Andy Biggs. That's just my greatest guess. I don't think it's going to be Paul Gosar, because mainly Paul Gosar, he has a lot of health problems. It really looks like he has Parkinson's. But on to the video about Sinema. So, Sinema swaps parties to the independent party, mainly to avoid a primary challenger, and to make it so if the Democrats want to run a candidate, she could blame them. She could say that, listen, you're the one who played the spoiler effect. You're the one who ran your own candidate against me. So it's your fault for doing that. And another reason is if she lost the Democratic primary, I'm pretty sure there's a sore loser law in Arizona that prevents her from running in the general. So that's another reason. So she had enough incentive to do it. But honestly, she could have gone the other route where she just became more liberal in Congress, or more just not bypass, like blocking every Democratic agenda piece. She could have done that instead and maybe try to salvage her approval rating among Democrats. Now, recently, I got a tweet right here that I got from Twitter. I can't show it to you, but I'll read it out. It's by Drew Linzer. Pretty much, Kyrsten Sinema has an 18% favorability rating in Arizona right now. Among Democrats, she has a 5% favorability. 82% unfavorable. Among independents, 25% favorability, 56% unfavorable, which is pretty bad. And among Republicans, 25% favorable and 45% unfavorable. So overall, Democrats absolutely hate Kyrsten Sinema now. I just don't see how she could win a Democrat primary, and I really see a three-candidate race occurring. I honestly don't even think that Sinema could have won if she was the Democratic nominee. She would have struggled against the Republicans. The Democratic base really wouldn't want to turn out for her. So, Democrats are kind of in a lose-lose situation in Arizona right now. But then again, I don't think much Democrats will even vote for Sinema as an independent candidate. I think they're going to back Gallego just because Democrats are frustrated with her. The only thing I see her doing is stealing just anti-Trump Republican votes away from the Democrats. McCain Republican specifically, I see her getting. But overall, I think some moderate voters for the Republican Party, they could also consider voting for Sinema as well. And we could see a scenario where maybe the Republicans decide not to field a candidate at all, depending on the polling, especially if it shows Gallego up still afterwards. They might not decide to field a candidate and just clear the herd like they did with the Democratic Party in Utah. They elevated Mick Mullen as their candidate. We could see the Republicans in Arizona do the same to maximize their chances at winning the seat, especially if they're not even leading the polling in a three-candidate race. That could occur. They could decide, you know what? We'll just let Sinema run as an independent and we'll back her instead. So we could also see that scenario because she doesn't have that terrible of approval rating among Republicans. It's only at 25% to negative 45 among unvariables. So Sinema will definitely hurt Democrats by a percentage point or two, I think. But you could also argue that maybe she wouldn't hurt them super badly, which a lot of people think it's going to super badly hurt Democrats. I'm not so sure on that. I think maybe the McCain Republicans it would hurt amongst, but most of the Democratic Party is going to back Ruben Gallego. Just most of the Democratic members here in the state of Arizona go with him. And maybe some McCain Republicans go with Sinema, but I still think left-leaning independents will lean towards Gallego just because of how centrist Sinema has been in Congress, and sometimes he just votes no on most Democratic agenda items, which really made Democrats mad in this state. So overall, I think it's Sinema at best probably cracks around 5 to 10% of the vote. Maybe she could get 11, but that's kind of pushing it. I think 10% is probably her max as an independent candidate. She's not like Bernie Sanders or Angus King in these states which have independent streaks and they actually have a base that likes them. There's no base that really likes Sinema in the positives, not even independents or Republicans. Her base is just consultants, basically. Just corporate consultants. So Sinema's in quite an uphill battle to win re-election, and I think she just made her chances much harder. I really think she should have just voted yes in more Democratic agenda items and stick with the Democratic Party. I feel like this is a miscalculation on her part, and Democrats are going to get even more brazen and bold, and they're going to run their own candidate against her just out of spite at this point. She's done too much harm to the party and the Democrats' views. So, yeah. Sinema, very low chance of even winning re-election at this point. She might not even run. She just might retire, too. That's another factor that we haven't even considered. I heard Sinema might have had presidential ambitions. A dual ticket with her and Liz Cheney, maybe? Could be possible. Maybe I'll do an election prediction on that if you guys want. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.